Welcome back, Raider Nation and my champions. Yes, this is Eric, and we're doing something a little bit differently tonight. Number one, I usually do the preview in a normal video. I'm going to be doing it on live stream tonight. That way I can solicit some of your opinions at the end of it. It's going to be the same type of format. We're going to be doing the 4 keys to the game that I'm going to give you, both 2 on offense and 2 on defense. And we'll talk about a few other things. We can talk about the whole John Gruden situation as well. But I will say this as far as what I wanted to call it. I could have called it Freaky Friday. I could have called it Frantic Friday. I decided to call it Friday Fallout because of the fallout we're having here with John Gruden and the whole situation there. So, and I could say something obvious like, well, it's going to affect the whole team. That's a key to the game. But I think that, like I said, that's pretty obvious, especially if anybody, it's going to affect Eric Carr because he worked with John Gruden the most out of anybody. So I excluded that. I kept it more towards the X's and O's of it. And I do see people in the chat coming in right now. Hello, JoJo's. How are you? Thanks for coming in. What I'm going to do, and if you're a regular of my live streams, you'll notice that I do it a certain way, and that's what I call the rundown. And we're going to go through that right now. So I have topics right here that I'm going to go through. In this case, we're going to go through the Week 6 preview, similar format as I do in my preview videos, and then we'll go to a question and answer session and then talk to you, and I want to get your opinions on those as well. So let's get right to it. Yes, we're on the offense. We're on the offensive, or on the defensive side rather. Hang on. It looks like I should not be having any issues with my stream. It was coming. Hang on 1 second. Let me make a quick adjustment and see if that will help. Hang on 1 second here. So basically, we had this before, but I did get a new modem. So this should be okay as far as that goes. So yeah, it is saying I'm having streaming issues. I don't know. So I started it back up. Hopefully that made the difference in it. I'm not sure, but hopefully that was the difference in that. And I want to start off on the defensive side as usual. But again, I normally start off with the injury report, and I'm going to do that right now. As far as the Broncos go, they have I have one player that's out, but he's basically a backup. I'm not too concerned about that. Another guy who's a backup linebacker. These are the two I'm really concerned about. That's Melvin Gordon, running back. He's going to be questionable for the game. He had limited practice here. But Kareem Jackson, their strong safety, is listed as questionable, but he did go through a full practice. I'm going to expect him to start in the game. And I'm checking right now to see if you guys, let me see if you guys are still there or not, because again, I'm having a little bit of issues. I apologize for that. Let me see real quick. Just bear with me 1 second. I apologize for that. I want to make sure you guys are hearing me before I continue forward. So if you are hearing me, we're going over the injury report like we always do. It came out, the injury report comes out on Fridays. Give me a thumbs up. It looks like I am back. So I did do a quick reset. So hopefully that was what was needed. So good. So I'm going to go over the injury report right here. And I talked about the Denver Broncos already. The two players are Melvin Gordon, the running back, and Kareem Jackson, their strong safety. We'll talk about the offensive side in a minute. As far as the Raiders go, there's a couple big ones. Jonathan Hankins has a hip injury from last week. He's listed as doubtful. I'm very concerned about that, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute. And the other one is Quentin Jefferson. He's listed as questionable with a back injury. The other ones are in active status, and that includes Marcus Mariota. I'm hearing from the press conferences that Mariota will probably be a game time type situation, how they're going to use him, if they're going to use him. But he might be available as well for like RPO, which we'll talk about on the offensive side, could help out slowing down that defense that they have of theirs. So as usual, what I do is I give the rankings here. This is the Raiders defense as far as run, pass, and overall and total yards next to the league. And same thing with Denver's offense. And I try to get a feel. We didn't get the injury reports till the afternoon. So I really wanted to decide my keys and finalize them then, because that way I know if there's anybody who's out, anybody in particular that's out that might be very important. Now, I know Melvin Gordon might not play. He is listed as questionable, but they still have the rookie Javonte Williams here, and I did put that as my first key. Obviously, the Raiders have not done a very good job stopping the run, 25th overall, as you can see there. And now that we have a couple of key injuries into our interior, Jonathan Hankins, which is basically our run plugger. Hi, Earth Daughter. Thanks for coming on in. Appreciate you coming in. And anybody else who's listening, thank you, who hasn't chatted yet. But Jonathan Hankins is hurt. He's listed as doubtful. He's probably not going to play. Quentin Jefferson, same type. Yeah, hello. How you doing tonight? It's a Friday night. I'm doing my review online. Oh, it's kind of like a premiere, but it's also a live stream. And I just want to make sure I have that so that way we can interact as well. And then if somebody can't catch it, they can still watch it like a regular video. So anyway, we had a little bit of trouble. We're back online. We're going to keep going. So our interior defensive line is very suspect right now. Now, I know we picked up a guy. His name was Damian Square. I looked into him. We probably picked him up because he was on the Chargers previously. So he's a Gus Bradley guy. But he's basically a fringe type player as far as an active guy versus a practice squad type of guy. He's been in the league, I believe, like 10 years. He's like 32 years old. I'm not expecting a whole lot from that besides, spelling the other two guys who are going to be there, Phylon and Solomon Thomas. Quentin Jefferson will probably play, but maybe limited snaps due to his injury. I don't think Hankins is going to play at all, which could play into stopping this running game. Denzel Perryman's going to have to be on his game. He's leading the team in tackles, and I don't think that's going to change for this week. My other key, now, I could go with, we need to rush Bridgewater. Honestly, Bridgewater's an average quarterback. I would have rather seen Drew Lock here because he's a piece of crap. He's terrible, but he can scramble, but he's not like a big-time scrambler like a Lamar Jackson or Justin Fields. We should be able to get to him. Garrett Bowles is probably their best offensive lineman. He's going up against Yannick Ngakoue, who had 2 sacks last week. Crosby needs to get on stat sheet this week, bounce back. You could also say something about here with Cortland Sutton. I believe Amik Robertson is going to be covering him, not Nate Hobbs. And he did a pretty good job against Allen Robinson last week. Hayward's pretty much a lock, solid guy. He locked down Chase Claypool in that Pittsburgh game. Tim Patrick isn't as good as Chase Claypool. So my second key is Noah Fant. And I'm telling you why. This is why. This guy has received 12 targets in the last 2 games, 8 targets in the last game against the Giants. The Raiders are terrible, especially against the tight end. They've given up nearly 150 yards and 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games against the tight end position. And this guy's pretty talented. So what I'm saying is, I think we need Merrick here as our center fielder in case Sutton goes deep. But KJ Wright and Abram got to lock down Font here. I think these are the 2 big ones as far as our defensive matchups go. Now, of course, I always have to give out my, what I call a blatant plug here. And as usual, every week I go online during halftime, and this halftime is not going to be any different. We're going to be going on this Sunday. We're going to talk about what I consider, what I call the good, the bad, and the ugly of the first half, as well as the 4 keys I'm talking about right now. And then I get your take on it. What are you seeing out there in the first half? And what do you think we need to improve upon? We have a lot of fun with it. We go about 10 or 15 minutes and then get right back to the game. I encourage you to come on out and join us. Now, I would love to take what we want in this situation, but I think for a couple of reasons, it's going to be very difficult for us to have an old school AFL Al Davis vertical game against this defense. This is arguably, well, probably not even arguably, I'm going to say it, it's pretty obvious. This is the best defense we're going to be facing this season thus far. And I put the stats up here. They're good at everything. They're good at sacks. They're in the top 10 of sacks. They're one of the highest blitz percentage defenses. And I talked about this before in previous videos. And this goes back, and this is an obvious major key, and it's the offensive line. And I put it across the board this time because Miller played an okay game last week. Not terrible compared to the right side of the line, but he's going to have to step up as well. With Reed here with 2 sacks, Von Miller leading the team with 4.5 sacks. You got Johnson with 2. They love to blitz, and I'm real concerned. I would have been concerned before all of this TMZ thing with John Gruden and him being dismissed basically. Even with him here, I would have been concerned. I am hoping that this new regime game plans properly for this, that they have a better blocking scheme this week than they did last week. Because like I said, this team can get out there after the quarterback just like Chicago, but they also like to blitz a ton, which Chicago doesn't really do. They don't need to. And this could very well confuse our offensive line. We also need to get back to like I call like a West Coast type of offense. Short passes, screens out to the side. I'm hoping that they implement some of this stuff. There's no, and then maybe Carr taking the snaps out of the shotgun if James can hike the ball to him. But overall, this is very concerning to me facing this Denver defense, and not even the consideration of all the crap that's going on with Gruden and the changeover and all that. This is a very tough defense to go after, and they are very good in all areas, including the pass. They're 5th ranked against the pass. But I'm going to say this is my second key. It's got to be Darren Waller. He has not really shown up in the past few games. Now, I know Denver is number 2 against the tight end, that defense, and they haven't given up more than 5 receptions in a game in this season in any single game against the tight end position. And Waller has not had more than 5 receptions since week 1 in that Baltimore game. You know, we always talk about him being like a Travis Kelce, stepping up, being that elite tight end. This is where you show it against elite defenses. He really needs to be there, not only to be that safety outlet for Carr. They really need to get that game going together. You could also say Hunter Renfrow on the slot, but they have Bryce Callahan, arguably I would say the best slot cornerback in the game. You could argue that. He's definitely in the top 5. This is going to be a very difficult game for reasons, and this defense, no joke. So Waller really needs to step up his game and take that elite tight end mantle. So that's pretty much my take on this game. It's going to be a tough road. We can win it, but we're going to have to win those keys to the game. Otherwise, we're going to be in deep trouble in this game. So I'm going to leave it out to you in the question and answer session. I know this is a little bit different. I know YouTube does not necessarily give all the notifications out to my subscribers. They're very wonderful at that, and that's why I kind of put this in my corner here, just to let me know what a wonderful platform this is. But I give it out to you. If you have any other questions, if you have any questions about the Raiders, about the NFL, if you want to talk about John Gruden, I'll talk about it. I would rather not. I think, to be honest with you, the more we talk about it, the more issues come. And it looks like we're having more issues with the live stream. I don't know what's going on. Everything was fine until I just started coming on. So let me see if I can fix something here with this. Just give me a thumbs up or something if you can hear me, if it comes back. It looks like it did come back. Let me see. It looks like it did come back where I'm sitting. I'm not sure if this is a YouTube issue now or what, because I have the stream on delay where you normally get like somebody's watching it, and it looks like it's okay to me where I'm at. If you are, just give me a thumbs up. But I'm not seeing an issue right now. Let me see. I did try to lower the latency to try to. You did get your notification, Jojo? Okay, great. So, if you have any questions, again, it looks like I'm on. I'm not sure if it went on and went off. Again, I got a brand new modem. They upgraded all the modems. I'm with Spectrum. So, and I haven't had an issue. I put it up earlier in the week. I haven't had an issue all week. So this is weird. I think I put it up right before the game. Actually, yeah, before the live stream, and it was fine. I haven't had an issue all week with my connection. So I don't know if it's something crazy going on with YouTube or what. So it looks like I'm back online. There is a little bit of a delay, obviously. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any questions about the Raiders, about the NFL, about anything, I will take your questions now. Like I said, I think a lot of people didn't get the notifications. They normally don't get the notifications. Yeah, Earth Daughter, it is off and on because I do have a couple of other accounts that I'm kind of subbed to this channel just to see if I'm getting notifications. And yeah, sometimes I do on those channels and sometimes I don't. So it's, like I said, it's kind of touch and go with that. There's nothing I can really do about that. It's just the way, like I said, this is why I put this down here at the bottom, just to show my love to YouTube. It's basically my, it's my thank you, Brandon, to YouTube, basically. So if you do have any questions, put them in the chat now. We'll get to them right now. If not, I will say thank you for coming in and watching this. If you're watching this on a replay, sorry if some of the things got garbled. Like I said, I thought I had everything kind of set up and ready to go. And my internet connection's been good all week. And it looks like it just started acting up again when I started doing this. I've shut down other programs other than my OBS. And then I opened up one just to see the stream to see where it was at to make sure it was running. So if you do have any questions, let me know now. Otherwise, yeah, I will just say this. I'll take a little quick drink and I'll mute myself, of course. I will say this though, a lot of the pressers this week have obviously been about Gruden and the transition and what the team's doing. And it sounds pretty good, you know, but I'm not sure how that's going to translate on the field. And more importantly, this Denver team is not bad team. It is not a bad team at all. And I try to tell Raider Nation this, and they want to hear a happy ending sometimes. And this team would be a tough team if none of the Gruden stuff ever happened in the first place. I talked about it in a previous video. I did a video a few months back in the offseason called Know Your Enemy. And I broke down the three rival division, Kansas City Chiefs, the LA Chargers, and the Denver Broncos. And the big weakness I had for the Broncos was, one, their offensive line, and two, Drew Lock. And they went and picked up Teddy Bridgewater. Not only did they pick him up, he has been starting since week one. Vic Fangio is a defensive-minded coach. The defense has always been good. Even when Von Miller got hurt last year, the defense was still good. Still could get to the quarterback. And now we have this terrible offensive line, especially on the right side. It's going to be trouble. It's going to be trouble out there. And I obviously, I hope for the best. I hope they win. But this is going to be very tough, given all the circumstances going on, the injuries, the Gruden BS going on. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it, JoJo's. But the pressers sound positive, but how are they actually going to respond? I think a lot of things. A lot of people knock Carr. Some people say he was kind of handcuffed by Gruden, and this to me might be showing, okay, is Carr going to step up and kind of take the reins? Was he really held back by Gruden? You don't really know what was happening. Obviously, Gruden had control of the team. There was no question about that. Even when Mike Mayock was brought in year two of the Gruden era, and I talked about that in the Grading Gruden series. He even said himself that John Gruden had the final say in all personnel decisions, even though he was the general manager. He's more like a player personnel development guy, and then Gruden was the general manager making the decisions on personnel. But even he said that. And then during the presser with Mayock, the general manager, one of the reporters asked him about was there a power vacuum, and he got kind of offended by that. It's like, there's no power vacuum. We got Rich Bisaccia here and myself and all this, and yeah, there is a power vacuum, obviously, because Gruden was running the show. You even admitted to it. Just come out and say, we are transitioning from this, and we have a plan and all this. Now, ironically, it was funny because Rich Bisaccia, who's the interim coach, who was formerly the special teams coach there under the Gruden regime, they elevated him up for interim head coach. He mentioned that the team's looking for its identity, and I slammed Gruden for saying that in the presser last week after the Chicago game because he'd been there 4 years. Now with Rich, I understand that. He just got there. He's taking over this situation as an interim coach. He's got these injuries. I understand it, I get it from him, but Gruden was a shit show. It was a clown show. If you saw my last two previews, I said it as much. And frankly, a lot of my fans, I could tell, didn't like it. There were a lot more thumbs down on those videos than my previous videos. Look, I'm going to tell it like it is, okay? If you like it, that's great. If you don't, then go watch somebody else. That's my bottom line. If I see an issue with the team, I'm going to state it. If you disagree, tell me in the comments. To me, it's like kind of cowardly. You just give a bunch of thumbs down and then leave. It's like, well, I had one comment. This is the first time I gave a thumbs down. Well, I said, well, basically kind of why, I want an interaction with you. If you disagree with me, that's great. But I'm not going to be a cheerleader for the Raiders unless it's well deserved. If they have a great performance on the field, the player does great. Of course, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. But if they don't, I'm going to state it as well. And that's the only way this team needs to be evaluated like that to get better. You can't just be playing games and be in dreamland. Like a lot of Raider Nation is right now. Unfortunately, they didn't do that in the past, and they won. So I would like to get back to that as well. So I'm looking right now. Do you guys have any comments or questions here? Let me see. Instead of me just sitting here babbling on and on and on. Broncos are no joke. They're going to be fine without Gruden. Yes and no. I think this week, I think we're going to lose, to be honest with you. I don't want to lose. I want them to win every game. But this, like you said, the Broncos are no joke. If Drew Lock was in the game, I would be very happy because we'd have a decent chance of winning. Now with I'm falling out with the NFL. Hey, Jay Oaks, thanks for coming on in. Yeah, that's the whole thing. If you want to talk about that and, what's going on with this Washington football team investigation and this nonsense. I mean, I'm not going to defend Gruden on what he said. Some of the stuff was, I think some of it was kind of tongue in cheek and some of it was outright wrong, but I can see where he would be dismissed, but where's Dan Snyder? I mean, he basically, all he got was a slap on the wrist and told that he can't come to the team functions anymore. He's the owner. Why aren't they doing like a Donald Sterling in the NBA with the Clippers and making him sell the team outright? What does this guy have on the rest of the team? What is this, or the rest of the league owners or Goodell, where he can kind of get off, kind of break away pretty much light? JoJo says, I think they will bring in somebody to fill that vacuum. They will in the offseason. I think they're going to go with Bisaccia as the interim coach for the rest of the year. To me, it only makes sense. I don't know if they even asked Gus Bradley to take over, or if the plan is Gus is going to take over next year as head coach, or maybe not. I would not want to lose Gus Bradley as in this organization because he's basically turned around this defense. I mean, the defense was awful, but at least we're halfway respectable now. So I wouldn't want to do that. Greg Olson was here during the Dennis Allen what I call the Sharpie days, Mr. Sharpie. He was the offensive coordinator then, and that was when Derek Carr was a rookie. So, I mean, they already have a rapport. I don't think there's going to be a big difference there. In fact, I think Carr's going to probably be audibilizing even more so than he did before. Like I said, I hope the blocking scheme is better than it was last week. I hope we play to fill in, plug the holes in our weaknesses, and that's the offensive line. And like I said, we need short passes, 3-step drops. Carr can't hold onto the ball like he did forever. He did that a lot in the Chicago game, and you're not going to have enough time, not with this offensive line. So we need 3-step drops, or we need to go in shotgun formation, no huddle, so they can't sub in and out, tire them out. Short passes, Renfro, Kenyon Drake, Jacobs, get him involved as well. I know he's still not 100% with the turf toe / high ankle injury, but that's how you get it. And then my other key to the game was Darren Waller. He has to. I know Denver is a tough defense, but if you're an elite tight end, you take those challenges on. You think Travis Kelce is saying, oh, well, the Broncos are an elite defense, so I don't know how, I don't think I'm going to get in the end zone this week. No, he's probably going to get 8 to 10 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown in the game. That's what elite tight ends do. So if Waller is that elite tight end, you go up week in and week out. Doesn't matter the competition. So again, this is going to be a tough game. Don't kid yourself. I'm trying to tell you straight, Raider Nation. I want them to win, but I'm going to say it's about a 20% chance they actually win this game. Now, of course, there's also the same variables, penalties, turnovers. If Bridgewater gets picked off 4 times, we could win the game, that kind of stuff, those kinds of things, 3rd down conversions, kind of the basic concepts. But if everything's kind of even, we're going to have a hard time moving the ball on this Denver Broncos defense. I'm just being honest, because I know they've played some weaker competition in the beginning, but they're still no joke, and they blitz like crazy, and our biggest weakness is the offensive line. So if you have any other questions, put them in the comment section below. I'm going to take another drink, and of course, I know how to mute. Let's see. Anybody else have any other questions regarding the game? If you want to talk about Gruden, like I said, I talked a little bit about it. To me, I'm not into the TMZ side of it. I'd rather focus on the football side, the X's and O's and all that other stuff. This is why I do my preview the way it is. I didn't bring in, the team's got to get over Gruden, and there's enough problems on the field that we have to fix to not worry about the whole Gruden thing. And I would agree with you, JoJo's. They're going to be fine without Gruden in the longer term. I'm not so sure in this game because it's so abrupt and it's a tough opponent, but I think we'll be better off without him. I even said it in my review last week after the Chicago Bears game. I don't think I said I don't think we can win a championship with John Gruden as head coach. Basically, the guy made little to no adjustments. Same old. He was so stubborn. And I saw this shit last year. I saw the same thing. I saw it in the Miami game last year. I got pissed off, and I was getting pissed off again. And the proof was in the pudding. We didn't do anything to really help with the offensive line. We moved Leatherwood into guard, and then we put the turnstile Brandon Parker in at tackle. Look what happened. If you've watched the game, you know what happened. It was a huge shit show. So J Oak says, yeah, we got to move on. Yeah, we have to move on. But I just want to talk about literally 1 week at a time. I did do a quarterly review. And in that, I just did a brief look at the next 4 games as far as the 4 defenses, because the offense has been our problem this year, obviously, much more so than the defense. The defense is middle of the road, if not a little above average right now, the way they're playing. I would like to see some more turnovers. They were having a little issue getting to the quarterback, but Yannick did do that twice last week against the Bears. For whatever reason, Crosby wasn't even on the score sheet last game. No tackles, no solo tackles, no tackles for loss, no deflections, no sacks, no nothing. He wasn't on the score sheet, so he's got to bounce back in this game. Like I said, I would rather be facing Drew Lock. He's an interception machine. He's terrible even when he has time. But Bridgewater can be exploited. He can be pressured into throwing bad plays. If you watched the Pittsburgh Steelers game last week, they were trying to drive down that interception in the end zone was a terrible pass on his part. He can be had, but we need to get some pressure on him, and we got to stop the running game. Otherwise, they're going to pull a Chicago and run it 50 times on us. And why not if we can't stop it? So. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions? If not, I'll move this on and say thank you. So if you came into the stream late, I went over the 4 keys of the game like I normally do in my preview. You can rewatch that afterwards. I also put in what I call my shameless plug here for my weekly live stream at halftime. So yes, we will be going live at halftime of this Denver Broncos game. I'm going to go over the same things I normally go over. My good, my bad, my ugly. I'm going to go over those 4 keys to the game and let you know how we did in the first half relative to that. And then we have a discussion like here in the live chat. We talk about it. We go on for about 10-15 minutes during halftime and then get right back to the game. And then later on, I'll do the full game review with grades. So if nobody else has any other questions, I'm going to call this one right here. Again, if you're kind of late to the party, you can rewatch this, see my keys to the game, both on offense and defense. I know a lot of people, some people are getting my notifications, some people aren't. Thank you, YouTube, on that one. I appreciate that. But otherwise, if you don't have any more questions, I'm going to say